Welcome back to IGCSE's Tips and Tricks Math Edition. Today, I'm going to be solving the Extended Math paper as part of my Extended Math playlist. So, let's go!
Let's get started. So question one is basically about triangles, which is pretty straightforward and very easy. So we have an isosceles triangle. Let me just get my going too loud. Yeah, so we have an isosceles triangle with a base angle of 34. Now we know that isosceles triangle, the base angles are equal. That means we have 34 on one side and this angle is also 34. We have to find the top angle x. Therefore, we know that x shall be equal to 180 minus 34 minus 34. This is because all the angles in the triangle add up to 180. So that should give us 180 minus 34 minus 34 will give us 112. So therefore x is equal to 112. Now let's look at the second question. The question is simplified. So according to me, the easiest way to do this is first multiply them, which is in board mass multiplication comes before subtraction. So we get 27y, 27y minus 77y. So that will give us minus 50y. Yeah, I think we're all good till question 2. Let's move on to question 3. Yeah, okay. So question 3 and 4 is the first one is your exponents basically. So if you look at it, we have 3 squared. 3 squared we know is equal to 9. But we also have negative 3 squared. Now, I've seen most people make this mistake in the paper. As you can see, there's no bracket around the minus 3. That means this is not equal to this, is not the same as this. This would give you 9, but this gives you minus 9 because we first square the 3 and put a negative sign in front of it. So then we're asking the sum of that. So then we have 9 minus 9 equal to 0. Let's look at the fourth question now. Fourth question is fairly straightforward. We're just asking it to multiply x with whatever is inside the bracket. So we have 3x plus x into x squared will give you x. The answer is 3x plus x. Right, let's move on. To question 5. Okay. So we know that Jenna buys 2.4 meters of ribbon and 4.8 meters of fabric. And the total cost is equal to this. So that means 2.4. So x amount into 2.4 plus y amount into 4.8 will give you 33.48. So therefore, if we look at then we see that given us the cost. So that means x, which we had assumed earlier, is 0.85. Therefore, 0.85 into 2.4 plus 4.8y is equal to 33.48. So that will give us 2.4 into 2.4 is 2.04 plus 4.8y is 33.48. 4.8y is equal to 31.44. Therefore, if we now look at it, it gives us 31.44 divided by 4.8, which will give us y. So y is equal to 31.44 upon 4.8, which will give us 6.55. Therefore, the cost of 1 meter of fabric is 6.55. Great. So let's move on to question 6. Now, question 6 is about series and sequences. Hold on a bit more. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So what I like to do first is find the pattern for the terms of the sequence. So as you can see here, this is subtracting by 1. Then this is subtracting by 3. Then this by 5, and this by 7, and so on. So we know that each time the number that it gets subtracted by increases by 2. So if we have to find the next two terms in the sequence, that means this, x and y. So we see that this is getting added by 2. So then we add 2 again over here, which will give us 9. And then we add 2 again over here, which will give us 11. Now we do 11 minus 9, that is 2. And then we do 2 minus 11, which is 9. So the next two terms in the sequence are 2 and minus 9. Okay. Now the next question, I'd say the sequence be just a little different, so we'll work on that. So let's look at sequence A. It looks like a simple arithmetic sequence because it adds every time by 7, as you can see. So yeah, let me just clear my drawings. So now we see that it's getting added by 7 times. So we know that the arithmetic sequence is term 1 plus n minus 1 into d. So our term 1 is 3 plus our n minus 1 into d. d is 7. So therefore, we have 7n plus 3 minus 7, which is 7n minus 4. So we clear that and we will write 7n minus 4. Now let's look at sequence B. Sequence B is a little tricky, but it is manageable. So let's look at this. This is getting added by 9. This is getting added by 15. And this is getting added by 47. It's 26, which is 21. So now let's try and look at the common thing between them, which is 6. So the formula for doing geometric, not geometric, but quadratic sequence. Yeah. So the formula for doing the quadratic sequence is 2a is equal to this last difference. Then you have 3a plus b, which is equal to the first difference. And then you have a plus b plus c, which is equal to the first term. So if we have 2a equal to 6, we know that a is equal to 3. If a is equal to 3, therefore 3 into 3 plus b is equal to 9. Therefore b is 0. And then we have a plus b plus c is 2. So we know that a is 3, b is 0, plus c is equal to 2. Therefore, c is equal to minus 1. So we know that this is equal to, it's always written as, I'm just gonna erase this first a little bit from here, so we still know what our things are equal to. So the quadratic sequence is always written as an squared plus bn plus c. So now our a is 3, so we can write 3n squared. Our b is 0, so we can leave that blank, and our c is minus 1, so 3n squared minus 1. That's your answer. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Oops. Yeah, okay. Give me a second, I'll try. No. Make this a bit smaller so we can see it all. Yeah, okay, much better. Okay, so now let's look at this question without the calculator. So first we know that we have to find out the LCM of the denominator. So the LCM of 6, 9, which is equal to 36. So that means we multiply 5 into 4 minus 1 minus 1 equals 6.6 equals 6, which is equal to 14 upon 36, which simplifies to, when you divide by 2, which is 7 and 8 minutes, therefore it's equal to 7 by 18. That's your final answer. Okay, so now the next question is about your median. Your median is basically the midpoint of your range of values. To do this, you first have to arrange them in ascending order. So let's do that. We know that 1.5 will come first, then 2, and again 2, then 3, then 4, then 4.5, then 5, then 18. So once you arrange them in ascending order, then you start striking them off one from each side like this. So this goes, and this one goes, and this, and this. And that leaves you with 3 and 4, two numbers. So what you do is you add them and divide by 2, which is equal to 3.5. Therefore, your answer will be 3.5. Let's just write it down here. 3.5. So now the next question is basically an explanation to why you cannot use mean to find out the average. So if we look at the set of values, there was an 18. Compare the 18 to the rest of the values in the range, it was pretty larger than that. So it is out of the normal set, or out of the standard deviation of values. Therefore, we can write that mean is not suitable because 18 is an extreme value. And that's your explanation. Okay. Now let's look at question 9, congruency. So congruency is basically at every angle of two triangles are exactly the same. So if we look at our triangles A, the side 6 is between the two angles 60 and 25. If we look at triangle B, the side 6 is not between 60 and 25. But triangle C we can see that side 6 is between angles 25 and 60. So we can say that angle A and angle C are congruent because they have the same side between the two same angles. Even though they're rotated, inverted, as long as they have the same side or same angle, then they are congruent. So our answer is A and C. And if you noticed, we use the two angles and the side. So if we had to choose the criterion that we use, it would be angle, side. Therefore, we circle this one. Moving on to question 10. I haven't actually seen the paper yet. Okay. So question 10 is pretty straightforward. You just have to put the values into your calc, which should give you, just a second, which should give you 3,456. 3,456. Then if you put the next one into your calculator, that should give you 3 by 4. And the next one will be 1 by 4. Okay. Now let's look at question 11 for a second. Question 11. We can see that you have x minus 3, x plus b, and x plus 2. We need to find the value of b when the graph of y intersects the y-axis at minus 30. So that means whenever we know the y-intercept, we know that all the constant inside the bracket, so that is 3 into b into minus 2 is equal to minus 30. Therefore, we can say that b is equal to 5. So therefore, b is equal to 5. Now, I'm just going to clear all my drawings and we can move on to the next question, which is the b part. So now if we look at the b part, we know that x is greater than 0. That means we have the graph coordinates like this. X is greater than 0. That means it lies on this side of the graph. I was pretty bad drawing. Yeah, it lies on this side of the graph. So when we know it lies on the right hand side of the graph, we can say that okay, so I'll just explain the concept here. The 3 brackets that are shown here are basically the points where the curve of y intersects the x-axis. These are your 3 solutions. 2 of the solutions are negative. When it cuts the x-axis, y is 0. So we equate them onto 0. That means x minus 3 is equal to 0. X plus 5 is equal to 0. And x plus 2 is equal to 0. So if we see x plus 5 is equal to 0 and x plus 2 is equal to 0, that gives us x is less than 0. Those values are lying less than 0. If we look at x minus 3, that line will give us x is equal to 3. Therefore, x is greater than 0. So that means our coordinate will be 3, 0. So now question 12 again is so a lot of people are making the same mistake in question 12, mainly because they didn't understand what the question was asking. So they say x is equal to 3 squared into 5 squared into 7 into 199 raised to 57. And they give that x is divided by 350. So now let's take a minute here. Since x is written as a product of its prime factors, let's try and write 315 as its product of its prime factors. So this is just a simple trick that I learned in school. You take 315 on this side, and I've automatically assumed that it divides by 5. So I'm going to put 5 here. And when it divides, it gives 63. So I put another line. 63 I know divides by 7 to give 9. Then I put another line. And then 3 divides 9 to give 3. And then 3 divides 3 to give 1. So the prime factors of 315 are 5 into 7 to 3 squared. So I can write this equation as this. So now I can just cancel out the 3 squared and the 7, and I can cancel out the 5 and cancel out the square over there. So that leaves me with 5 into 199 raised to 57. And that's how you solve this question. Okay, moving on to question 13. Let me just clear my drawings. Okay, question 13 is a cumulative frequency. This is different than your normal frequency diagrams or your box and whisker diagram. So let's see how to solve this. So we see when k is less than equal to 20, the cumulative frequency is 0. So let's mark that point here. Oops. Yes. When k is less than equal to, okay, let's just go with the values that are given here. 24. When it's 24, k is equal to 23. So let's go to 20. Somewhere here. 6. So if I just were to assume the graph that this is making, I would probably say something like this. Now, this is just a rough sketch. It's difficult to draw the exact graph on a device. But yeah, so if I were to draw it, it would be something like this. What happened? And yeah, moving on to the next question. We have use your graph to estimate the 90th percentile. So once you plot the graph points, then you should be able to figure out the 90th percentiles. So to figure out the 90th percentile, what I will do is first see that the total cumulative frequency is 50. So 90th percentile of 50 would be 90% of 50 would be around, let's see, 90 divided by 100 into 50, which is 45. So that means I look at the point on the graph which is 45, which should be around here somewhere if I'm not wrong. And then I see where it intersects the graph. So if I were to just draw the graph again. So if the 45 intersects over here, then I look down straight and I take that point. Now this point will give you the mass at the 90th percentile. Moving on to question 14. Oh, okay, another thing about frequency. So this is the box and whiskers diagram as I mentioned before, and let's take a look at how to solve this question. So there are 136 girls and 144 boys. Each measures the distance they jump in centimeters. And the box and whisker shows the distribution of these distances. Each child who jumps a distance greater than 160 gets a certificate. Work out an estimate of the total number of children who get the certificate. Okay, so we see that the median of the girls jumped greater than 160. So since they jumped greater than 160, that means approximately, I would say, since it's the median, I would say about 136 divided by 2, which is about 68. So 68 girls will get the certificate. And then if we look at the boys use 3, so therefore 75% of the boys greater than 75% of the boys jumped greater than 160. So that leaves 25% of the boys. So 25% of 144 is 36. So we can write 68 girls plus 36 boys, which gives us an answer of 104. So therefore, a total of 104 students get the certificate. Okay, question 50. Why is it specifically called the vector? This is your basic answer from your circle theory in geometry in your textbook. A cyclic quadrilateral, the opposite angles, which opposite angles add up to 180 degrees. That's your answer. Straightforward. That's an easy 1 mark, right? Now, if I'm being honest, question 16 or these type of questions always gave me a little trouble, and that's why I've practiced them over and over again. So let's look at the first question. They are saying it is D intersect H naught. Usually, if they ask us D intersect H, we would shade this part because that's the intersection where the two sets meet. But they're asking us to shade the part where G intersects with no H. So that is basically this part. So we shade everything in G. Now let's look at the next one, which is the J. So we have J union K naught. Okay, intersect with L. So the intersect with L is basically here, here, and here. So we know that it is K naught. So we can delete the intersect where it shows in K. We also know that it is J union K naught. Now J union K would be the shading of the entirety of J and K. Since it's K naught, we would only shade this part and this one because it's intersecting with L. Now, since it's intersecting with L, as we saw in this question here, wherein G intersects with L, we also shade the entirety of L because it is intersecting with K naught. So that is your answer for the second one. Okay, now let's look at the B part. They have given us a Venn diagram and we need to complete the information. Okay, so they've given us A intersect B intersect C is equal to 1. That means the center of A, B, and C is equal to 1. So we can put a 1 here. Now they've also said that the number of objects in set C is 42. So that means 7 plus 1 plus 2 plus x is equal to 42. So 10 plus 1 plus 2 is equal to 10. Therefore, x should equal to 32. So we put 32 in there. Okay, moving on to the next question, which is, okay, again, this is, the first one is just putting it into the calculator. So let me show you it. They've asked f of x is equal to x squared, g of x is equal to x plus 5 upon 2, and h of x is equal to 7x minus 3. The first question is asking f of minus 3. So we substitute minus 3 where x, therefore we get minus 3 the whole square. Now this is equal to 9, therefore a is equal to 9. Okay, now they asked us the inverse of said function. Now, when finding an inverse, I learned this trick in school is first you write the equation as y is equal to whatever the equation is, so then x plus 5 by 2. Then you switch the positions of x and y, so that will give you x is equal to y plus 5 by 2. And then you try and make y the subject of the formula. So that will give you 2x equal to y plus 5, and then 2x minus 5 is equal to y. So this equation here is your inverse. The g inverse of x is 2x minus 5. Okay. Now let's look at the next question. Solve g of f of x is equal to h of h inverse of 63. Okay, so first, since they've given us a value on this slide, let's try and solve that first. So h inverse. Now, like I said, again you write y is equal to 7x minus 3. Switch the positions, x is equal to 7y minus 3. X plus 3 by 7 is equal to y. So we know that h inverse is equal to x plus 3 upon 7. So that gives us 66 by 7. And then, so h inverse 53 is equal to this. Therefore, you have to find h of x inverse. So we substitute this into this equation. So that is 7 into 66 by 7 minus 3. So 7 and 7 cancel out. That leaves us with 66 minus 3, which is equal to 63. So let me just erase some of this so we have space to solve the rest. Yeah. So we know that this side of the equation is equal to 63. So therefore, g of f of x is equal to 63. F of x is x squared. So g of f of x will be equal to x squared plus 5 by 2 is equal to 63. Erase this. So therefore we can say that 63 into 2 is equal to 126, and 26 minus 5 is equal to 120. So you can say that x squared is equal to 121. X is the root of 121. Therefore, x is equal to 11 or minus 11. Now, if you see over here, they said that x has to be greater than 0. Therefore, the only valid option is x is equal to 11. Okay, now let's move on to question 18. Okay, this is one of the more interesting questions that I've seen in the extended math paper, where they give you reoccurring decimals and then you need to write them as a fraction. So the simple trick is you take this value that they've given you as x. So x is equal to 0.419. I'm gonna multiply by, let's say, 10. So 10x is equal to 4.191. Now I'm gonna multiply by, let's take 1000. So 1000x is equal to 419.191. And these are all reoccurring, so dot 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 showing that they extend. Sorry, this is a 1000x. Yeah. So when you do 1000x minus 10, which will give you 990x is equal to, then you substitute, you minus 4 from this value, so I give you 419.19, 4.19, which will give you 415. Therefore, x is equal to 415 upon 990. I think this will simplify. Let me just try. And yes, it does simplify to 83 upon 198. And that's your final answer. Okay, so let's move on to question 19. So let me just erase these. Just need to come down. Okay. So the question says that she picks a number at random between 3 and 5, and then she picks another number from 5, 6, 7, and 9. When she adds the two numbers, the answer is even. Okay. So we know that even plus even will give you even, odd plus even will give you odd, and odd plus odd will give you even. So find a probability that exactly one of the numbers she picked is a 5. So she can either pick 5 from the first set or from the second set. If she picks 5 from the first set, so that is 1 upon 3, that's the probability. Then she has to pick another odd number from the second set. So that is 7 and 9. So 2 options. So we can write that as 2 upon 4 or 1 upon 2, which is equal to 1 upon 6. Then we see the case where she picks a 5 from the second set. So that is 1 upon 4 into, and she has to pick in 1 upon 3, which is 1 upon 12. So when you add the two, 1 upon 6 and 1 upon 12, you get, I'm not too sure, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, that's, okay. So it seems like there's a slight error in the working somewhere. That's no problem. We can just try again. Okay, so we clearly identify the 7 even outcomes. So that's 2, 6, 3, 5, 3 and 7, 3 and 9, then 5 and 5, then 5 and 7, then 5 and 9. So now they've asked us the probability that there's exactly 1 in 5. So we can take 3 and 5. We can take 5 and 7, and 5 and 9. So that gives us basically 3 cases. So that means first stage 3 from the first set and 5 from the second set. So that's 1 upon 3 into 1 upon 4. Then you add it to 5 from the first set. So that's 1 upon 3 into 1 upon 3 into 1 upon 4 plus 1 upon 3 into 1 upon 4. It's basically on a second. I still feel there's something that we may be missing out. So I'm just gonna erase this again. Just leave the first part where the cases are shown. Picks a number. So she picks a number. She picks one number from each set. So there are 3 outcomes. Oh, wow. Okay. So there are 3 outcomes out of 7 of the possible outcomes. So she picks exactly one right. So the answer is 3.7. That was pretty simple. We just gotta use your brain, I'm guessing. We would have gotten the same answer if we just worked it out manually using all the cases, but yeah, this was a much simpler, easier way to figure out the answer. So the answer is 3 upon 7. Great. So let's move on to question 20. Okay, so again, it's an exponent. So when you have a number like this inside your bracket and it's raised to this power, so first you do 81 raised to that power, and then you do x raised to 16 raised to that power. Now when you have a power inside and a power outside, we multiply. So 16 into 3 by 4 will give you 12. So that we do it x raised to 12. And then you have 81 raised to 3 by 4, which should give you, I think, 27. So that is 27 x raised to 12. And the b part. So now we have 1 raised to minus 1 by 2 upon y squared is to minus 1 by 2. So that's basically 1 raised to minus 1 by 2 is just 1. And then you have 2 into minus 1 by 2, so 2 into cancel, so that's y raised to minus 1, which is equal to y. So the answer is y. Okay, so this is a very common question. Usually comes in paper 4, so I'm quite surprised to see it come in paper 2. This is a question based on the similarity concept of triangles. So the shape that they made for us is called a frustum, which is this shape right here. But we don't need to know it. So if we just look at the shape, they're asking us to find the volume of the solid. It should be quite straightforward. So we know that the height, the ratio of the height is 12.5 upon 5.5. So 12. So now I'm drawing to gives us 12.5 on 5.5. And the radius is basically, oh no, wait. So I made the same mistake. So the height is not 5.5, it's actually 12.5 minus 5.5, which is 7. So I'm just gonna write 12.7 is equal to, now the diameter is 9.2. We need to get the radius. So that's 9.2 divided by 2. which is 4.6. So 4.6 upon, we don't know this radius, so we're just gonna leave it as x. So if we cross multiply, we get 4.6 into 7, which is 32.2 upon 12.5, which is 2.2576. Okay, so it's 3 decimal places. So our radius x is equal to 2.576. So if we find out the volume of the two formulas now, I'm just going to erase the top thing. I'm just going to keep the radius here as radius is equal to 2.576. So now if you see the volume, it's 1 by 3 into pi r squared. So that's 1 by 3 into pi. Now we do the big cone first. So the radius for the big cone was 4.6. So 1 by 3 into pi into 4.6 squared into height, which is 12.5, minus 1 by 3 into pi into the radius of the smaller one squared, which is 2.576 squared into the height, which is 7. This answer will come out to be, if you just put it into your calculator, even should come out to be to 3 significant figures will be 228. Yeah, that's how you solve these kind of questions. Anyways, moving on to the last two questions, it looks like. Yeah, so again, similarities concept. The volume of two mathematically similar objects are 56 and 875, and the height of the smaller object is 18. So they've given us, make sure to read the volume, which is cm cubed, and the height in cm. So we can say that 875 upon 56 is equal to x upon 18, the whole cube. Now we're doing this because the ratios over here are in cm cube and over here are in cm. So if I were to evaluate this should come out to be 45 as x. Yeah, it will come out to be 45, and that is your answer for the height of the larger object. Okay, and I think this is the last question of the paper, which is 4 upon x plus 1 plus 2 upon 2x plus 5 is equal to 3. So first of all, we need to multiply this denominator with this, and this denominator with this. This will give you 4 into 2x minus 5, so it will give you 8x minus 20 plus 2x plus 2, since we multiply them, and the whole thing upon x plus 1 into 2x minus 5. And this is equal to 3. So what I would do is just erase this part and multiply with x plus 1 and y is in this question. Oh yeah, 2x minus 5. So this will give you 10x and this one. Oh, this one. So 10x minus 18 is equal to this will equate to, let's just do this, x into 2x, so that becomes 2x squared x into minus 5x, and then plus 2x minus 5. So that is 6x squared. And minus 5x plus 2x is minus 3x. Minus 3x into 3 minus 9x. And minus 5 into 3 is minus 15. So 10x minus 18 is equal to 6x squared minus 9x minus 15. So we have the equation. Now if we take these over to this side, we get 6x squared minus 19x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now you can just put this into the calc C and find out the answer, but they've asked us to show all the working. So I'm just gonna erase this since we found out the main equation that we need to use. And yeah, I'm just gonna equate it to 0. So let me get the drawing equation. We have 6x squared minus 19x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now they are assuming that we use the formula method for quadratic. So that is minus 3, so minus 19, which is 19, plus minus the root of 19 squared minus 4 into 6 into 3. The whole thing upon 2 into 6, which is 12, which will equal to 4 into, so 6 into 3 is 18, 18 into 4 is 72. So we have 19 squared minus 72, which is 289. So 19 plus minus root of 289 upon 12, which is equal to, is the root of 289 is 17. So 19 plus 17 is 36. 36 by 12 is equal to 3. Or 19 minus 17, which is 2. 2 by 12 is equal to 1 by 6. Therefore, your x is equal to 3 and 1 by 6. And with that, we have completed October-November 2022 variant 2 of Extended Math.